Buongiorno Bianconeri, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel. I'm Alberto, it's January 11th. I've got all this morning's news surfacing around La Vecchia Signora, right? We're going to talk about the latest on Sergej Milinković-Savić as there are reports today surfacing that are getting Juventini optimistic. I'm going to give my probably unpopular opinion on SMS as a whole, okay? Then we're going to talk about player statuses on the injury front, when guys are getting back, especially Vlahovic's latest update today. And then we're going to take a look at Mercado rumblings. Even though it's rumored that Juve is in a transfer freeze until at least January 18th, doesn't stop the rumblings from happening. So let's get into it. Alright, Juventini, friendly reminder to like the video and of course subscribe to the channel, right? We're going to kick things off right out of the gate with Sergej Milinković-Savić on the transfer wire, okay? So, Sergej Milinković-Savić, reports today say that there is a rift between he and Sarri and that things are getting intense and that Sergej Milinković-Savić will gladly leave as soon as possible, all right? And that, of course, they tie into that report that Juventus is monitoring the situation. My unpopular opinion on Sergej Milinković-Savić. I heavily criticized the midfielder when he signed that extension at Lazio. If Juventini are getting their hopes up for this, I unfortunately wouldn't. And I'm thinking we're at the point where we may need to just forget about Sergej Milinković-Savić altogether, all right? He's going to have another year. Lotito could potentially get rid of him, but he's going to want a big price tag. I don't see it in our wheelhouse at the moment where things stand with Juventus currently. If Sergej Milinković-Savić comes, I would expect it to be on a free, all right? And there is a lot of different things that we can tie into this and why my method of thinking in this, but I'm thinking by the time he comes free, that's probably when it would make sense for us. And to be honest, at that point, if we're looking at Sergej Milinković-Savić, we've gotten quite a bit of other things wrong. So I'm thinking, honestly, it might be time to just cut the cord and forget about Sergej Milinković-Savić. I know that's going to be unpopular, but that's how I feel about the whole thing. And this latest report doesn't really make me optimistic or get my hopes up in any way, shape, or form, because Lotito is still involved and is still going to want big money for Milinković-Savić to have him leave earlier, all right? So there you have it. Unless Sergej Milinković-Savić can push and get them to lower some type of release clause or insert something that can maybe be workable, I do not see it happening. I think Juve needs to just forget about Sergej Milinković-Savić, all right? Now, we move on. Aston Villa, apparently, although wanting a midfielder, all right, and searching for a midfielder, Nicola Schira today reports that they are not interested in Weston McKennie. Interesting separate report on Weston McKennie is that Weston McKennie has apparently asked Juventus for 10 days to reflect on his future. This is a weird one from Giovanni Albanese, and I don't really understand what he needs to ask for 10 days to. You can reflect your future without asking for 10 days to reflect your future. I'm not really sure where he was getting at with that report, but who knows what's going on with McKennie. One day we're hearing that Juve does not have him up for sale and that they're just assessing market opportunities. That's what Romeo Agresti reported. And then the next day you have three media outlets saying that Juve has put him up for sale. So we just got to wait and see what develops with the American midfielder, all right? Now, Rugani, all signs are pointing to him staying. However, the reports today, if by some way, shape, or how he does get moved in the Mercado, Kiwior would be the replacement, okay? So Kiwior would be the replacement for Rugani should he go, okay? Now, Caio Jorge, all signs were pointing to a loan out as he gets closer to a full recovery and whatnot. It's being reported today that Juve is actually going to keep him around. They're going to send him to Juve Next Gen. I actually really like this idea, him sticking around with the other young guys, getting guaranteed minutes, and we can closely monitor him. I actually like that move, having him with Juve Next Gen, all right? Now, we've got Rabiot. Some interesting news on Rabiot. We knew that Juve was going to look at a formula to try and keep him here, and apparently now that formula is the same as follows. It's going to be the same wage at the 7 million, but boosted with bonuses and basically making him a pillar in the future project, all right? So things are heating up. Juve wants to keep Rabiot. How do you feel about that one, everybody? Let me know in the comment section. Last, certainly not least, our player statuses. Paul Pogba is clinically recovered, listed as recovered. We know that yesterday he was doing partial training with the full squad and then a little bit of individual work, so it's kind of a gradual thing. Today, Vlahovic began the same process. Slow integration into full group training, but also working with youngsters and whatnot, and a little bit individual. This is a great sign for both of those guys. There is optimism about Paul Pogba being in around January 16th, but it most likely will be January 22nd or even the 29th matches, all right? So we have to wait and see what happens, but it's getting very, very close for Paul Pogba, and we're all excited to actually see him in some competitive minutes, all right? So fingers crossed there. Dusan Vlahovic, like I said, still no time frame. They're still thinking it's going to be end of the month or early February for Dusan Vlahovic, but he finally begins some form of group training, all right? So this is big today. As far as Bonucci, De Sciglio, and Cuadrado all go, again, you're saying today they're reporting end of the month. They're all around that time frame, but Cuadrado, we were hearing, is actually going to be next week. What I say in terms of injuries and time frames, the media, the outlets, they don't really technically know 100%. Stick to Max when it comes to the recovery times. So when he does his press conference ahead of Napoli, I'll cover it and I'll bring you the news, and then we'll have a better idea of what the actual time frames are and see if they line up with what the media says, all right? That's your news break to today, Juventini, all right? We're getting closer and closer to Juventus and Napoli. The latest report on the lineup was the same as follows everywhere, okay? Chiesa not looking to start in this one against Napoli. The latest lineup: Szczesny in goal, Bremer, Danilo, Sandro, your three center backs. Outside, right back, McKennie. In the middle, Paredes, Locatelli, and Rabiot being reported. I will say this right now, I do not like that midfield trio. I don't like it. If you're going to have Rabiot out there, you can only have one of Locatelli and Paredes, and I would put Fagioli out there. Kostic as your left back, Di Maria, and Keane up top. Juventini, you know the drill. Let me know what you think in the comment section to this video. All right, we're getting closer and closer to that big match. We're going to be live on match day Friday, okay? And that's going to be 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Then I'm going to bring a live watch along, all right? Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ciao tutti.